George Foreman has passed, the fearsome heavyweight who became a beloved champion. RIP at age 76. Okay, he became the heavyweight champion of the world in his 20s, only to lose his belt to Muhammad Ali in perhaps the most memorable fight in boxing history. All right, here's Muhammad Ali. And that was the Rumble in the Jungle. Okay, you see it's even got its own thing here. It's got its own Wikipedia. October 30th, 1974. Billed as the Rumble in the Jungle, a heavyweight championship boxing match on October 30th, 1974 at the 20th of May Stadium. What's that? The 20th of May Stadium? Never heard of that one. Wow, that's interesting. Haven't heard of that one. All right. That's interesting. The 20th of May Stadium. We're in the year 2025, y'all. So the 20th day of May would be the 20th day of the 5th month. Like 25. Isn't that interesting? And it says it opened in 52, the 25 reverse. But anyways, before, I don't want to get too off topic here. That kind of threw me for a loop there. All right, his family announced his death, not saying how or where he died. What's up with that?
Welcome back into Live Now. I'm Austin Westfall. Some sad news to report on this Friday evening. We're hearing that boxing legend George Foreman has died at the age of 76. We just saw this posted on Instagram. It reads, "Our hearts are broken," and this is from the family. "Our hearts are broken. With profound sorrow, we announce the passing of our beloved George Edward Foreman Sr., who peacefully departed on March 21st, 2025, surrounded by loved ones. A devout preacher, a devoted husband, a loving father, and a proud grand and great-grandfather, he lived a life marked by unwavering faith, humility, and purpose. A humanitarian, an Olympian, and two-time heavyweight champion of the world, he was deeply respected, a force for good, a man of discipline, conviction, and a protector of his legacy, fighting tirelessly to preserve his good name for his family. We are grateful for the outpouring of love and prayers and kindly ask for privacy as we honor the extraordinary life of a man we were blessed to call our own." We're hearing from Fox News as well that his family making that comment, and we've been looking to see if perhaps there's any more information out there surrounding the circumstances here, but we do know that he passed.
All right, so RIP, and I asked Google, right? What is he known for? Foreman won Olympic gold, and look at this, in only his 25th amateur fight. Again, we're in the year 25, and they said that stadium was the 20th of May Stadium, like 25. Devastated one of the all-time greats in Joe Frazier, and went on to retain the heavyweight title twice before his now iconic 74 fight with Ali in Zaire, which is now known as the Democratic Republic, whatever it's going to say there. And he has the grill as well, right? The Foreman grill, which we'll get into. I guess more the later stages of his life, right? The George Foreman grill. Do we get a like a release date of this grill. Okay, 94. That'll be coming up here in the breakdown as I have a connection with that. Something I noticed with George Foreman. Look at this pic right here. Let me pull this up. Let me zoom in. Look, his face kind of looks like Mike Tyson's face here. I don't know, with some of the like indentations here on his face, or kind of like this snarl. Is that how you put it? But kind of like some of the definition in his face here looks like Tyson. So for George Foreman, Mike Tyson. You see right here? And I'll pull this pic up in particular. And let me zoom out a little bit. Look, he kind of in the face kind of has that Foreman look. Check it out. And obviously, I'm not surprised these characters connected. You know what I'm saying? But like Foreman, Tyson, look at that. You see what I mean? The tattoo on the face, the gap in the teeth, that stuff is probably going to distract you, but we know that these characters are connected. And ooh, okay. I love doing this on the fly. Okay. Tyson's birthday, the 30th day of the 6th month, that lands. So now I have to go over here, okay? And watch this. Watch how that lands on the fly. And I noticed it with this pick with Foreman right here. And look how it says fearsome heavyweight. Tyson definitely was feared in his career, correct? Wow. Check this out as we go forward, okay? Watch how. And look, Foreman dies at 76 years old. Look at this picture that pulled up when I'm doing the research on Facebook. It says 76 wins, 5 losses, as they're referring to the Rumble in the Jungle. You see that? So does that, I'm led to believe he had 76 victories. I don't know if that's going into the fight. I'm not exactly sure, but it's right there with the picture with Ali, speaking of the Rumble in the Jungle, as they bring that up immediately in the article, the fight with Ali. So look, it says 76 wins right there. And then he dies at age 76, y'all. Okay? And is that like low-key racism as well? Remember George of the Jungle? Was it like a cartoon or something? Right? And we have George Foreman rumble in the jungle with Ali. So like some low-key kind of like, and it was George of the Jungle was like a monkey, right? And I think it was a cartoon, if I can remember back to my childhood. You see what I mean? So there's like a low key race thing here as well. All right. And I'm just like kind of pointing that out. Okay. And that is a fact. That was like a show or a cartoon. I better go pull it up now just to verify. George of the Jungle. You see? Oh, okay. Well, look, there's a comedy, but I remember, of course, they're going to make it a comedy, but you see how that connects, right? Rumble, it's a fake world, so the stuff in the language just repeats. Check that out. But there was like a cartoon, I thought. They kind of regurgitate this stuff. You see, there it is right there. I thought it was a monkey. Maybe I'm wrong. That says 2007. Okay, so I don't know if there's like there's like a cartoon and then a movie. I thought I remember one with a monkey. Let's see. Okay, look. there's Curious George. Okay, that's what I was thinking of. And look at this, says George of the Jungle Monkey Business right there. But look, Curious George. So look how that hits right there. And look, that's disgusting right there. Look how it says catch the monkey. That's terrible. Okay? I mean, that is really ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? If you ask me. Okay, so that's just some stuff I noticed on the fly. And then you see the fight here. All right. So, damn, right? So we see this 76 here. And right here it says exhausted and disillusioned. Foreman stopped fighting in 77 and didn't it says he spent a decade preaching, working with kids in Houston after a religious awakening. That happens a lot with these celebrities, or that's what they say, right? But they'll take time off, something will happen, they'll give us a story of what, remember Dave Chappelle, they said went to Africa. Remember that? But we know that was probably just cap, right? But look, it says he was gone for a decade and then he made a return in his late 30s, but it says he stepped away in 77 and then he came back. But look, so he's dead at 76. That's his 77th year of life, even. Okay. And check this out. In the reverse cipher with the language, Foreman equates to 117. He had that fight with Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali's birthday is 117. January 17. Look at that. And also, he's connected to Joe Frazier. He climbed to the peak of the heavyweight division by stopping Frazier in 73. Okay? Look at Joe Frazier's date of death is 117, but it's in a different form. It's not January 17, 117. It's November 7th, 117. And again, Foreman equals 117 in the reverse cipher. So that's how you know this stuff is legit, because we have a birthday with Ali, a death date with Frazier. Joe is maybe kind of like George. I don't know. George, Joe. Right? Remember Foreman, Tyson? But, with the language and reverse with the alphabet, applying the numerical value, you see how it breaks down right there. 117, and then with connected to these characters with the 117, 117, right? I mean, what are the chances of that? Even his middle name, Edward, 107, like 17. And all of these are like 17, 117. You see that? It's even a 71-day span from his birthday to his death date, March 21st. He passed Friday, just yesterday. Start to end, birthday to death date, 71-day span. So there's that 1 and that 7 again, all right? And this is what I'm talking about. Remember the Tyson birthday? The 30th day of the 6th month? Tyson, Foreman. And they look similar. Ali, I don't want to say he looks like Tyson, but possibly if you look at a younger Tyson, possibly you see similarities. And, I'm not going to like hammer that home, because I don't think it hits like the Foreman connection. But the date of death for Ali connects with the birthday for Tyson. And look how Foreman checks in here with the 36 as well. Tyson's birthday, the 30th day of the 6th month. Ali, death date, 3rd day of the 6th month. Right? So the 30th day of the 6th month is like 36, which Ali dies the 3rd day of the 6th month, 36. Foreman in Gematria equals 36 in 2 ciphers. Even his last birthday, 36 date numerology. Look at the death date of Ali, 2016. 20 plus 16 is 36. All right? And he even, even with that 36 connection, if you don't want to get into the numbers like that, which I don't know why you wouldn't, it's undeniable. A normie person, if you had to, you got to speak real basic with a normal person, right? They don't get it, right? Which we have to accept people in. We were accepted into this at some point. So you got to slow it down for some regular people, right? This is obviously knowledge almost beyond comprehension. It still blows me away each breakdown. Like this Tyson connection, like, has got me shook. And I've been doing this, and I do this daily. Okay, but you could just say, what are the chances, even Ali, he dies in the birth month of Tyson, right? And they might say, oh, what a coincidence. Then maybe you bring in the Foreman 36 connection here and his last birthday with the 36 date numerology, if you had to, right? And this character is known by Big George. And again, they're not saying how or where he died, right? But we know it's by the numbers again. Look at he goes by Big George nickname. And shout out to Richard West, because he mentioned there's a lot of Tupac energy going on lately with these patterns and connections. And he brought up Big U, because Big U, the LA uh gang member slash leader of a criminal organization slash connected to the music industry. Anyways, he brought up Big U, which that guy's name is, and now we get Big George dying. Again, this is all with the language, and big is like notorious big. Okay? Connected to Tupac, connected to Suge Knight. And again, Big U is trending out of Los Angeles, and he's even connected to the death of another rapper, which I can't find any info on that rapper. Again, these stories all hit with the patterns, and it's like insert character here. We don't even know if they're real characters. But Big George, 75, like George Foreman. Even 57, which is the reverse of 75, George checks him with 57 in ordinal. Muhammad Ali's got 42 like Big George. And this is all numerical values attached to the letter. Do you understand? Ordinal is ABC 1, 2, 3. You get straight numerology with reduction. Reverse reduction, reverse with the alphabet, and reduction, what is that? It's all going to be single digits. So if there's 26 letters going forwards and reverse, when you get to the double digit and beyond, you just add the two together, reduce, and then add up the single digits each way. So you got reduction, reverse reduction, and you don't see reverse right there, but reverse is just simply reverse. Z is 1, A is 26, okay? Notice Big George 42, Muhammad Ali 42, right there. Muhammad Ali was born in 42 as well, okay? So, and just a couple more connections, and this connects with Notorious Big as well, because he was shot, and RIP to him, that was 97. And now we got Big George Foreman. Foreman quit the ring for good in 97. Occasionally discussed a comeback, settled into a life as a boxing analyst for HBO. He briefly had a sitcom called George, but quit for good in 97. The reverse, 79. Rumble in the Jungle equates to 79. Champion equates to 79. And look at, you also get 92 with Rumble in the Jungle. And Dead in March. March equals 92. George Foreman Grill equals 92. You get that 92 reversed, which would be 29, right? George Foreman Grill in reverse, 299 like 29. It even has 106 in reduction like Frazier, okay? Even Frazier F, Foreman F, you know, right? Best known as the face of the George Foreman Grill, which launched in the same year as his victory over this other guy who's coming up next, Michael Moore. The simple cooking machine sold more than 100 million units, made him much wealthier than his sport ever did. Okay. But this Michael Moore guy, watch, he's going to come into play here. But we have another 29 because as a teenager in Mexico City, Foreman made the U.S. Olympic team in 68, stopping a 29-year-old opponent in a star-making performance. Jonas Sapulis. He really, and Foreman really looks like Tyson right there in the face. Look at that. Okay, that's undeniable. He really, when he's got that mean face, he looks identical to Tyson. Don't forget Tyson used to have more hair as well. So I think he's been rocking bald for a while. And the face tattoo, a lot of that stuff takes away from the appearance where you can really tell he looks like Tyson right there. Foreman, Tyson, these are characters scripted together. Do you get it? And there's obviously something going on with the DNA. You know, they want to throw around the clone word. It's a trendy word. People will make fun of you when you lose it, when you use the word, excuse me. Um, well, I don't like to use that word, but they're doing something. It's all in the family, whether they know it or not. Something's going on here. But 29-year-old, he stops a 29-year-old as he's a teen. Just Jonas guy or Jonas. You see, George Foreman Grill 299 like 29. George Foreman Grill 92. Rumble in the Jungle 92. Dead in March 92. Even that guy, the 29-year-old, he stops. Look, he's got 72 like Foreman and 72 like Michael Moore. The 45-year-old then pulled off one of the most spectacular knockouts in boxing history in 1994, flooring Michael Moore. You see that? And 45-year-old pulled off this knockout against Moore. Jonas Sepulis equals 45. Okay? Look at that. And more floor. Come on, right? It's all with the language. Ha ha ha. Why don't they just laugh at us as you deceive us? Okay? Michael Moore gets floored, right? Notice 1994, that just hit with the previous breakdown. All I Want for Christmas Is You, Mariah Carey. Okay? Just did that breakdown. They were trying to say that there was a copyright infringement against the writers of this other song. But All I Want for Christmas Is You. Go check that breakdown. I guess before that case went deeper or before it went to trial, or whatever the court terminology is. I guess she won or whatever. But anyways, look at the date for that song, and you can go check that decode out. It was like yesterday I dropped it. But look, 1994 is when she released that song, All I Want for You for Christmas Is You. And you see in 94, we get 94 in this article, as the 45-year-old then pulled off one of the most spectacular knockouts in 94. So, again, you really see it in the face uh, when he puts that mean face on Foreman, Tyson, and you see it again right there, right? And so we get like what, 6 or 7 boxers here all connected, okay? And I don't remember Michael Moore, nor I remember this fighter in Mexico City. That's before my time. But look at how they're all connected. Even this guy's Jonas makes me think of Roy Jones Jr., who Roy Jones Jr. is probably there's probably relation as well, okay? Yeah, the mic better be on. I'm like, the mic better be on. And it looks like somebody's about to knock on the door here. I mean, come on. Cringeworthy, right? Cringeworthy. For real, for real, for real. Okay, so undeniable here. We're gonna play another news clip here, okay? R.I.P. George Foreman. Are you really gone?
Right now, we have some breaking news tonight as the family of George Foreman has announced the boxing legend and icon has died at age 76. Foreman's journey took him from the streets of Houston to Olympic glory, from the heights of boxing fame to the pulpit as an ordained minister, and finally to an unprecedented success as a businessman whose name became synonymous with the wildly popular George Foreman grill. As a boxer, Foreman compiled a professional record of 76-5 with 68 knockouts. He is survived by his wife, Mary Joan Martelli.
Okay, he did have the 7. So why don't they tell you, oh, he happened to have 76 wins and he died at 76? They can't catch that. Normies can't catch that.
Of 76-5 with 68 knockouts.
Normies can't catch that.
He is survived by his wife, Mary Joan Martelli, whom he married back in 1985, and his 12 children and a lot of grandchildren. I got to know Mr. Foreman and his family during my years in Houston. He truly was a great man.
Did they say 12 children or grandchildren? Something like that. I think he was out of Houston. Houston equals 112, like 12. Something else with boxing? Rocky, the movie Rocky, right? Like Sylvester Stallone, right? Look at Sylvester Stallone's birthday. I'm telling you, look at his birthday, the 7th month and the 6th day, 76. Foreman dead at 76. Even Carl Weathers, who played Apollo Creed, age at death, 76. What are we doing here? Fake world. Okay? Fake world. It's all fake. Real boxing, actors boxing. This stuff is fake, okay? It's all fake. Right? So these are undeniable connections. There's going to be more stuff in the article. There's going to be more that I miss. Compare it to your top decoders out there who get put in front of people who maybe don't deserve it. You know what I mean? It's not about just working hard, becoming the best at this, and then you're put on. That's not what it's about. YouTube is fake as well. Do you understand? They're going to pick and choose. They want you to, just like these celebrities, they want you to believe you work hard and you get to a certain level. No, it's all false. Right? I think your top YouTubers out there are low tier relatives connected to the celebrity world, like fourth, fifth cousins, whatever. You know, the brother of somebody's son, or the son of somebody's brother, the brother knows somebody famous, or it's all about the connections. And I think your YouTubers, they're connected like that. If it's not with some kind of religion, you know what I'm saying? So again, I question it all. RIP to George Foreman, the fearsome heavyweight who became a beloved champion, dies at 76. No cause of death. No, nothing. How, what, where, when, why, nothing. Maybe at a later point, maybe they'll release some more information. Okay? And of course, I'm going to miss something here. I'm not perfect, but that's my breakdown. Until next time, peace.